Today we are in Riva del Garda, in the northern part of Lake Garda, a perfect area for sailing because here there is always wind and the landscape is gorgeous. Although I generally prefer motorboats, I must say that sailboats offer a special charm, but there is also an enormous advantage. It has only one engine, a propeller on a fixed axis, and a rudder that works well only when moving at fast speeds. In the harbour, however, moving slowly, it is quite ineffective.
Io non sono certo il campione mondiale di ormeggio, tantomeno su.
I'm certainly not the world champion of mooring, much less on a sailboat, and maybe that's why the boat show chose me to test this new propulsion and control system, designed and manufactured by ZF Marine, the SPP steering pod Propulsion. I cannot wait to try it, even though I must say that this 14-metre boat in such a small port makes me a little nervous. We start coming out of the berth, backwards. The manoeuvre is very effective because the propeller does not counter-rotate as usual. Instead, the pod, which is the propulsion underneath the hull, rotates 180 degrees and propels the boat backwards.
Bene, adesso proviamo a uscire dal porto. Anche se...
Well, let's try to get out of the harbour, though it's pretty tight. We'll try to combine the manoeuvres, going forward and a slight rotation of the hull. It is my first time operating this system, but already I feel quite confident. What a reaction! Well, the command is proportional. That is, if you move the joystick just a little bit, you get less power from the engine and the boat reacts slowly. But if you press it more, you get more power and the response is very quick. It even manages to give the thrust of the 80 horsepower propulsion engine for the manoeuvre. Excellent, I'd say. And I'd want to accelerate a bit. Well, I know it's my crazy habit as a motorist. Okay, let's focus on the centre to get the most depth as we exit the harbour. When manoeuvring with the joystick, the actuator locks the rudder so that it is just the pod to direct the boat. Here in the middle of the lake now, I get a bit confident with this instrument, so let's come back to port. We'll try a 360-degree rotation on the spot. I've never seen a sailboat do such a thing. It's wheeled in a circle that has the same diameter as the length of the boat. It's amazing. The fact is that since the pod rotates 360 degrees, the same manoeuvre is performed with the same precision and speed in the opposite direction. There is no preferential side, and there is no influence given by the direction of the rotating blades. There's also some wind, so everything could be influenced by the weather, but I don't notice it. Now let's go a bit south, also because this area is spectacular. Practically forgot to use the boat's control lever. I'm doing everything with the joystick. Actually, to navigate faster, we should disable it and use the lever. In this case, the system releases the rudder and I can steer in the traditional way. There is a manoeuvre, however, that you can never do with any boat, much less on a sailboat. Let's reactivate the joystick. The rudder automatically centres, bar in the centre, to manoeuvre sideways with precision using the pod drive.
Sapete che spostare lateralmente uno scafo è piuttosto complicato, a meno che non si abbiano...
You know that moving a hull laterally is rather complicated, unless there are bow and stern thrusters. Let's see if this command and this propulsion can instead move this 14 meters. So move the joystick all the way to one
Da
side.
un lato. Il comando agisce anche sull'elica di
The command also acts on the bow propeller, of course, but above all, it directs the pod. That is the propulsion under the hull, so as to push the boat sideways.
Adesso proviamo a rientrare in porto e
Now we try to get back into the harbour and do something even more difficult in order to understand how easy this system is to use.
ci infiliamo nella parte...
Let's go into the inner part of the harbour.
Gigi, mi sembra stabile.
Gigi, doesn't it seem to be stable? Also while manoeuvring. Okay, then I'll continue.
Sto facendo la manovra fluida e consecutiva. Cioè, voglio dire, non sto provando e riprovando, non sto entrando e
I'm
uscendo.
doing a fluid and consecutive manoeuvre. That is, I mean, I'm not trying and trying. I'm not coming in and out. I'm not stopping, and it's not easy with such a big boat sailing with a single engine and a single propeller. Now I'm in the middle of the canal, among the boats.
Ragazzi,
Guys, did you notice the speed of this manoeuvre in the harbour? Nearly touching the other boats.
adesso proviamo la manovra più difficile.
Now let's try the hardest manoeuvre, moving it sideways. This command is also intuitive, even for me who didn't grow up with video games. Imagine how easy it is for the younger generation. And it's not just for manoeuvring, but also for sailing in crowded waters, moving safely through a bay between other boats in search of the right place to drop anchor. ZF Marine designed this system and manufactures it at the Arco plant, not far from Riva del Garda.
L'SPP, Steering Pod Propulsion,
SPP, Steering Pod Propulsion, is a sailing boat transmission. It is an integrated propulsion transmission in a single element, which is capable of rotating around its vertical axis for directing the thrust of the propeller.
Il sistema si compone fondamentalmente di due elementi, uno all'interno dello scafo e l'altro sott'acqua. Da questa
The
parte
system consists basically of two elements, one inside the hull and the other underwater. From this side, you have to imagine the propulsion engine of the boat, which transmits its power to the propulsion system. Here instead, we have an electric motor controlled electronically that serves to rotate the immersed foot. We also have a clutch controlled electronically, really a practically sophisticated thing. The entire plant is then run by a microprocessor interface to the joystick and bow thruster.
diamo un'occhiata sotto lo scafo.
Let's take a look under the hull to see where it is installed and how this propulsion system moves. There are also advantages for shipyards because the product is sold, if desired, in conjunction with the engine, with controls and the instruments. In other words, a complete propulsion package. The compactness of the system allows for better use of the space inside the boat, and there are no problems aligning the engine with propulsion, so installation is quicker. The ZF SPP propulsion system is very efficient because the foot has a slender hydrodynamic profile. With the 80 horsepower engine, this Beneteau Oceanis 46 touches 9 knots. While sailing, the water flow closes the blades so that there is no resistance. The steering pod propulsion can be matched with motors up to 80 horsepower. But ZF will soon also launch a version up to 150 horsepower.
Adesso potete decidere anche voi cosa fare, se continuare a usare la vostra barca.
Now you can decide what to do, if you continue to use your sailboat only when the days are quiet with little wind and it is easy to get in and out of the harbour, so you use it frequently like a beach house, or if instead you will always use it even when there is a strong wind, because entering and leaving the harbour and manoeuvring with this system, easy.